Go and like find hashtags like in your niche and then tag those. Like do smaller ones so then you can continue to gain exposure. Find what time of day people are really engaging with your posts.
Hello, podcast. We got Samantha Warren on this episode. This is a good friend of ours. She's from Washington, D.C., a full-time personal trainer that helps women live their best lives through science-based practices, good food, and strength gains. I mean, if you don't like those things, then you're weird because everybody does. Her clients and social media following benefit from her extensive experience, her education, that is a master's degree in exercise science, her fun, high-energy approach, and she just has a big heart. Samantha can be found on Instagram at Samantha Dear Fit. Her website, samanthadearfit.com, has a link to her website where you can apply for her one-on-one coaching, find a 12-week gym and home workout guide for purchase, as well as free workouts and challenges. I'm going to put links to all of these in the show notes. 4 years ago, Samantha and I connected over Instagram, of all places, when I started my account for bodybuilding and then for personal training and now for Skullbellz. And over the years, we've been motivating friends to each other. And over the last 12 months, especially, she's really created a powerful, unique brand. So I reached out and asked if she would be willing to share some of her methods, introduce her to my wife, and converse what all three of us love, which is getting stronger and the fitness industry. So we discussed different approaches to nutrition, our passions for strength training, how physical fitness supersets with mental and spiritual fitness, COVID-19's impact on our industry, and personal branding versus business branding. So for some context, we started off right now by asking her about her background and how she got started. Here's Samantha.
And I grew up in Northern Virginia, but my dad's from Louisiana, so I was like, I'm going to get away for college. So I went to LSU, stayed in Baton Rouge, then I moved to Atlanta. Didn't like it, then I moved back up here to get my master's.
Okay. That's where you got your master's, yeah. And you have a master's in?
Exercise science, so exercise, fitness, and health promotion.
Awesome. Okay, how is your education? So there's people like you that are educated, which is awesome, and there's people like me that are not educated, which
you're self-educated. You're not.
Yeah.
May not be. Yeah.
You're self-educated.
I made myself sound really stupid. And there's people like me. I just kind of like right off of my experience. You have the experience and the education.
Yeah.
How has your education been helpful? Your formal education, I should say.
Yeah. It just kind of opened my eyes to like new ways of like doing things and how to apply the science, like the nitty-gritty of the science into programming or just like any health aspect. And I like that stuff. I'm like, I love learning. Like, let me go read like Brad Schoenfeld's like textbook, you know. But I also wanted to say, like, the difference between, I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, you know, going off of experience. What I don't like is, like, people who take a good selfie on Instagram and then get a zillion followers. And they're like, buy my program, and they have no idea what they're doing. Like, you know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's very obvious about your profile and the way that you have everything set up, too, that you not only know what you're doing, but the enthusiasm that you bring into it and the fun that you make it, too. That's a lot of the problem that I've been having with some of my clients is like,
really?
Yeah, it's easy to get into this mindset of, okay, like, I mean, I live and breathe this, right?
Right.
Like I have a long-term goal, taking 10 years off to just build a bunch of muscle and be more competitive as a bodybuilder, right? And so like for me, that dream is there, but
yeah,
most people don't have a dream to be a professional bodybuilder ever at any point in their life or ever step on stage. So but yeah, so like I'm writing these programs, like sometimes I'm like writing a program for me, but for my client, and it's like they'll get bored with it. And so yeah, it's super important to make it fun and to give them exercises that they like doing. You know, half the exercises I do because I like them. The other half of them, it's like I need to develop this lagging part here. I need some more improvement on this area. How has your physical fitness spilled over into other areas?
I would say like it improves my mental health, and then when that's rocking, I'm a better person all around to other people, so that when it comes to like actually having to like carry heavy stuff or like help people move, that helps a lot. And then you just end up getting surrounded with more like-minded people, and then you kind of find your community rather than like years ago I used to hang out with the wrong type of people and like make bad choices, and now I'm in the right space. So that's definitely transformed everything. And then it's also great, like when Steven and I go to the store, we're like, hey, you want to go to like the nutrition shop over there, and like we'll spend time like looking at everything and we enjoy it, rather than other people wouldn't necessarily like doing that.
Yeah.
Sounds like us. We like to do that well when our kids aren't with us. But yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, we have a lot in common. We know all about hanging out with the wrong people and that not really being the best association, and then having to move on from that. Like I love comedians. I love all my friends that we do stand up.
Hey, you guys do comedy, right?
Yeah.
I don't. He does.
And it's always a good time, but it's burgers and fries and drinking, and it's like super hard to
Stay on track.
Yeah, to mix the two. So next subject is, do you feel like we have a lot in common, and when I miss a couple days of training, I just like really don't feel like myself. Like
When you miss one day of training, you don't yourself.
Suppose.
like, can you relate to that? Is that something where like do you take rest days? What does that look like for you, or do you...
Oh yeah. If I don't do it for like several days, and like my body just feels like gross, like I have to move in some capacity. Maybe it's not going for like heavy lifts, but like walking or stretching or something. But yeah, I feel like that too. But I do make a point to take a rest day, because I know when my body is like crying. Like, you need
Right. It needs it. Yeah.
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 Awesome. Okay, this is something that was that I was excited to talk about. So carbs are a very key part of your diet. And for me, they're not. Actually, for both of us and for our whole family, we're pretty much keto. I should say keto slash low carb slash no carb. I actually consume mostly proteins. Like my typical macros on a day are like 400 grams of protein, 100 grams of fat, and no carbs. So I just like don't eat any vegetables or anything, and then like I'm not bloated or anything. I feel great and have a lot of energy throughout the day. We seem to be the exception to the rule. And performance-based sports, where like 99% of people seem to have like more of your style. Curious if you've ever thought about going low carb or eliminating them altogether, or if you're just like, hell no, that's not me.
So before I like completely switched careers and I was making like poor choices and I wasn't the most in shape. Excuse me, Bo, like stop. I think I found it on Pinterest. I was like, oh, I can just like only have a little bit of carbs and I'll get to where I want to be. But I didn't like do the research. I was like, I don't know, but it's fine. So I did try it, and I don't think I did it properly or it worked out, because I was going out and like drinking anyways. It didn't even.
Yeah.
I just know for me personally, like I function best when I have a good balance of my macros, and I love carbs. But hey, you guys actually seem to do really well on it, and not everybody does. So that's like even more exciting to see, like in real time.
Yeah, you got to give people a big disclaimer and say, look, the keto diet is amazing, but if you have a bad couple of days, like it sucks getting back into it. So if you're gonna do it, you have to sell out to it. and there's a lot of benefits to it.
But there's also people in our family.
It doesn't mix with other diets, so like you can't mix that and like have cheat days here and there. Some people can, but usually it doesn't go over.
I feel like you would feel so gross.
Do you have any favorite go-to carb sources? Like, are you a sweet potato person or a white rice person?
All of them.
Yeah.
I like to mix it up, because like we really like cooking. Like we've been watching a bunch of like Gordon Ramsay shows. I'm like, oh, look what we could do with all this stuff. Like, let's get crazy. So I don't know. We have all of them on hand usually, so I try to rotate. I don't have like one.
Do you guys take like one day out of the week to meal prep everything, or what is your guys' cook style look like?
Well, since we're not like before the pandemic, when I was finishing my master's and working at a gym in the dance studio, I was like all over the place. So I used to like really meal prep. But now, since I'm not really going anywhere, I'm just like, all right, what do you want for dinner?
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace, because our Sundays were like devoted to meal prep, and then the pandemic hit and we just shifted Colt out of his job, so he's been working from home. Like,
Yeah.
we never meal prep. Like we just cook every meal like as is, and it's actually kind of a nice change of pace.
Yeah, today's 4 pounds of steak. I just weigh it all out, and whenever I'm hungry, I just go cook another one. And
You guys like go to because I always see all like your steaks and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, that looks good. Do you just go to like a butcher or?
Well, his parents have a cattle ranch in Montana, and so every winter they slaughter one steer, and so we get, I don't know however much they decide to give us. And
Nice.
it doesn't last long in this house though.
I bet.
deer, whenever somebody shoots a deer, we're always hitting them up like, hey, you need help finishing that so we can use some venison.
Yeah.
We used to have a meal prep company too, and so we still have our reseller's permit from that, and so we have
A restaurant depot that has halal beef and
$4 a pound
for flank steak, $4 a pound. So I actually it's in Seattle, which is a few hours from here. We're at my mom's house, so I went and spent a few $100s on loaded up our meat supply.
Yeah.
But we got all kinds of good stuff. I'm excited.
So you do meal plans for and nutrition coaching for it. Oh
Yeah. Nutrition coaching, like I work on their macros and like healthy habits, but I don't write them. Like eat what works best for you. Like if they have like, oh, I have stomach issues, because I personally have IBS and I had to learn how to manage it on my own because no doctor can like really help with that. So I kind of help them navigate through that and like, oh, maybe sub this instead of going out and getting this at a restaurant, or try it this way.
Yeah.
So they're in like the driver's seat of it, and I'm just giving them the tools when it comes to nutrition.
For our listeners that aren't familiar, what is IBS?
Irritable bowel syndrome, the worst, because you have to, if you go and like to the doctor, like, oh, I have stomach problems, you have to go through like a battery of like testing. Like I got tested for celiac, and I didn't have that, but a phlebotomist like blew out. I don't know if you remember on Instagram, like I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago now. I had like this huge bruising on my arm.
Oh,
Like I lost muscle mass. It's like
Did they do allergy testing?
It was all from that. I had to get all this allergy testing just for them to be like, well, you don't have anything like actually wrong. You just have a sensitive stomach and you do have this food allergy, so watch it.
Well, I know people who suffer from like SIBO, which is the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Yeah.
And like that, I mean, it's same thing. It causes those same issues, and it's just like the only way you can really heal it is healing it through food. It's like that's the only way you can control it, because you're either going to control it through what you're putting in your body, or they're going to give you a pill to fix it, but it's not going to fix it. It's just going to minimize the symptoms.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, yeah. So.
That and then like stress, it's in your mental health too, like stress management.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your Instagram is extremely professional. It's well, beautiful, and everything that we would like our Instagram ideally to look like. Do you have any suggestions for quality or organic growth for those that are building their own brands?
Find like a pattern of posting you like too. Like I'm still playing with it, and like every other post or whatever is like an infographic or a reel or something.
Yeah.
Go and like find hashtags like in your niche, and then tag those. Like do smaller ones so then you can continue to gain exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Find what time of day people are really engaging with your posts. I just kind of decided on 12:30 because that's like lunchtime. I'm like, all right, people are scrolling, at least on the East Coast. And then, you know, the engagement groups, just play with it, see what works, what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have a pattern. It's the
grid thing.
The meme, and then like a video, or I don't know if meme is the right terminology. I think
yeah.
A better term for it. Okay. Awesome. Are you random off-topic question? Are you a fan of the Washington football team?
Yes, but also since my dad's from Louisiana, I like the Saints, and then from Steven's family, the Bills. So it's been a fun year in football.
Yeah.
And doesn't he do some sort of work with the team?
Yes, we both worked for when they were the Redskins, but the Washington football team in the past. I did for their like community outreach stuff. We would go into middle schools and like teach them like different exercises and like healthier food choices, and then he was massage therapist for them. this season was a little different with COVID and like limiting people, but hopefully he'll be back there next season.
That's
Definitely.
cool.
Okay, last question that I have is, you have a personal Instagram as well as a business Instagram. And I have both of those two, and I actually do Instagram for another company as well. And so, do you ever find it difficult to make the time and to navigate between the two, keep track of both of them?
Sometimes, and I have a third one because the dance studio, we decided to make Instagram so we could still connect, like right when we first shut down last year, all the kids and like hyping everything up. So that one, I don't purposely forget about it, but it's a lot smaller. At first it was a lot, but now I'm just like, okay, it's just seamless to just go back and forth.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much.
Oh, you guys are the best.
Hey, everybody. Hope you've been enjoying this episode. We transitioned into talking a little bit more about her background before wrapping up.
So I was always active like my whole life. And then my undergrad, I majored in theater performance, and I was in Louisiana. And there was film and TV was really big then. So I was doing that, but I wasn't happy. And I was like, I love working out. Like I've taught when I was in school, like at the UREC, I taught fitness classes. And I was like, why don't I do something that like I actually enjoy and look forward to every day?
Yeah.
So I kind of shifted. I started with a group fitness cert and PT. Then I ended up going to get my master's in exercise science. And then that just opened so many doors.
Right.
That's why I went all in, because it's so much fun. There's like, it's always evolving. I have my own coaching business, so training clients.
That's awesome. So you and Colt are really similar in that then. How long have you been doing that?
3 or 4 years now.
Cool.
I'm like, what year is it? It's 2021. I forget.
Well, it's probably so great now too with the pandemic, everything probably shifting for you, for your clients, like to home workouts. And so like that being a whole different, area to like just educate yourself in. And I know a lot of people are probably hesitant at first, like, gosh, can I actually get a real workout at home?
Right.
But boy, that's like far from the truth that you can't though. Like you can get some great home workouts. So was that a hard transition for you? Like getting clients for home workouts or?
Not really. Some of them are from when I used to even train in person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like word of mouth, and then
Yeah. And do you work for a gym, or is it all just?
I used to, and then the company like didn't really care about its employees. So I was leaving that, and I found another company that was a lot better. And then the pandemic happened, and then I ended up just deciding to not. And then I just started working for myself last summer.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode. If you found this helpful or entertaining, we ask that you would please share this podcast and help spread the word. To make sure that you don't miss any future weekly episodes, you can subscribe to the podcast, and it would mean the world to us if you would leave us a rating or review on iTunes, YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube if you're listening, and vice versa. And so whatever platform you're on, we would just really appreciate you guys' feedback. We are not on Patreon or any type of donation service, and this content is just our gift to you. If you would like to support the show, we do invite you to our website, SUPERSETYourLife.com, where you will find our retail pages for our very own Skullbellz workout equipment line, hats, t-shirts, coaching services, and my stand-up comedy booking information. On the website, you will also find the link to subscribe to our weekly newsletter and be informed of new product announcements, sales, and all information to be up to date on what's going on over here. Finally, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at supersetyourlife.com. Thanks again, and God bless.